when silence stops running the show, when you no longer can be quiet, when your voice stops being a secret, then, then is when it becomes your superpower. Let's talk about that today. Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I'm a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 39 books and counting. I help folks write, publish, market their books to bestseller, and everything that goes beyond that. And what I'm really here to do is help you find your clarity, to help you know and feel and live in that powerful clarity that you were born for, you're meant for. You were created to fill a spot that only you can fill. And I want to help you really architect the clarity that gives you the ability to do that, the message that you were born and made to speak, and then the voice to go with that message so that you can show up consistently, concisely, clearly to connect with the people that you're meant to connect with. Let's invite a couple of people here from my crew and my friends and stuff. Just no offense to anybody that isn't on this invite list. I'm just thinking of a couple of people's names and inviting you. And if you didn't get invited, please don't be offended. Doesn't mean I don't still love you. But we're going to invite a few people here while we get rolling and we look at what happens when you stop being silent. What would it look like if you really, truly shared your voice? What if you really shared the you that is you, all that you are, out into the world in the powerfully amazing way that only you can do by being this really cool thing? And I want you to really grab a hold of this. Being the amazingly superhero that you are when you are you. When you just simply embrace you, your you-ness, your uniqueness, this is who I am. I don't have to, apologize for it. I don't have to worry that maybe it's not okay. I can just simply be me. That's where the real safety comes. Safety doesn't happen in a space where everything's perfect, everything's going right, everybody's on your side. There's nobody that isn't coming against you. There's nobody that's going to dismiss or disagree with your opinions. It's not real. That doesn't exist. What we want to be in a place, and I'd love to see us as a country, as a world, really get to the place where we can discuss things. I remember a few years ago, one of my authors wrote a book, and I'm going to botch the title of it, and I apologize in advance for it. But it was essentially about listening, taking it in, and then discussing. About really, truly listening to what somebody has to say. All too often and I do it myself too, okay? So I'm not judging you at all. But, we'll catch one phrase at the top of somebody's message or in their voice note or in the words they're saying. I was actually even talking to a gentleman I was interviewing from my radio show yesterday, and he was talking all about the lost art of communication and about how we all too often are just listening for the thing that we want to comment about. And he used the perfect example of, I live in, we'll use me. I live in Kansas. And rather than the person, and then the person jumps in and goes, oh yeah, my aunt used to live in Kansas, and rather than jumping in with ourselves, what if you were just simply to go, that's interesting. What brought you to Kansas? Engage with them. Be interested in them. There's an old sales saying that is so, so, so true. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Let me say that to you again. Let me really, really let that soak in. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Think about that for a minute. Just stop and let that really get down into you, down into the, down in the gut, the really deep stuff. Not your head, even not your heart, although do let it be in there, but get down into your gut. I read a book, and I wasn't involved on this book at all. It's just a book that a very, very good friend of mine recommended to me right as I was going through my last divorce. Such an amazingly helpful book, and very, very difficult all at the same time. The book is called The Untethered Soul. And I apologize that I can't think what the guy's name is right now. An amazing book, though. If you haven't read it, you really should. I really absolutely recommend it. It is absolutely, no matter what your particular background, religious bent, spiritual awareness situation is, it's going to challenge you because it talks about taking, and then it talks about the concept of taking and untethering ourselves from any attachment to anything, that comes our way. So it's not a matter of not loving your kids or not loving your spouse or, really loving the work you do or those kind of things. It's not at all about that. It's about things come into our life, situations happen and they arise. And he brings up in the book the whole concept of the fact that we tether to them. And then he really challenges our beliefs. And this one was really, and I still struggle with it, but I love the way he put it, because he then went to some of the most extreme circumstances and gave examples of people, and the legit reason why we do tether to them and why it's pretty normal. For example, I'll use my own life as an example because I don't remember specifically his examples. When my youngest daughter Maya was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia, don't worry, I always jump ahead in this. She's doing great, married, has a great life now, okay? But I mean, that was shocking. Now, how do you untether from all the emotional that is your child is in complete organ failure, and the doctor is telling you that they are going to die? Not a question of if, but just a matter of, this child is not going to make and may not even make tomorrow. And that even if the next 6 months of chemo works, we're going to still want to then meet with her on a monthly basis and test her to make sure that the signs of the leukemia aren't showing up in her blood. And if she has all negative tests 5 years beyond the chemo, then she's quote unquote in remission. And they kind of sort of call that cured. How do you disconnect yourself from that? That's some big stuff. And I can tell you that I don't know that I really honestly, even in reading the book and even in really totally believing in the concept of it, really did that. But what if we showed up in the world untethered from the need to have to allow other people to tell us who we are and how we are? We talked a lot yesterday about if you blow it, just say you're sorry. And then you need to move on. They may not. The same thing is true. We're just going a little deeper today. We need to stop tethering ourselves to situations that are holding us to where we were, not where we are and where we're going. Does that make sense? Sometimes, and I do it in my own life, so I'm not picking on you at all, we look around and we're like, why do things seem stagnant? Why do they seem to not be? Or why does it feel like I'm not really making a lot of progress forward? I would encourage you, because I'm really encouraging myself, and you get to hear it too. Take a look at the things that you've tethered yourself to. Take a look at what you are connected with. And what does that connection do to you? Because I can tell you absolutely, when you stop being silent and you start sharing your voice, It absolutely is your superpower, and you're going to make a massively powerful, amazing difference in this world. Just sharing your truth. And it doesn't matter. I'm telling you right straight up, I can completely disagree with everything you say. And that is totally okay because my opinion doesn't matter when you're being genuinely, uniquely, wonderfully you. Don't tether yourself to my opinion on things at all. And don't allow ourselves to be tethered to other people's input and opinions. That's not to say not to have those discussions, though. See, when we get to the point where we can listen, hear, and then react, and I think that was pretty close to what that lady's titled that lady's book was. We can then have a discussion on the toughest of things, on the things that at the end of the discussion, we're not going to be in agreement, to quote Gordon Ramsay, which I'm not sure that agreement is actually a word, but he uses it all the time. And we can walk away not in agreement, where it cracks me up so much, but we can still be friends. We can still be connected. It's okay to really like and even love somebody that completely agrees with you on certain things. I mean, if you completely disagree on absolutely everything, I guarantee you they're not going to be your clients. They're not the right mentor for you. They're not somebody that's going to be your spouse or a best friend or any of those kind of things. It's just not going to happen when you have those massive disconnects on everything. But you want people in your life that have different ways of seeing the world, that see things differently than you, and will willingly challenge you in love. Did you catch that last part? Because they care enough to be able to bring it to you, and they're not connected enough that the only right answer for them will be you dropping whatever you believe in and believing what they believe. And anything short of your absolute total agreement with what they've said is a problem. Those aren't the people, those are, in fact, specifically exactly the people I'm encouraging you to remove or distance. Sometimes we can't completely remove them from your life. Get as much space from them as you can. Absolutely. Please, 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 please do. Because you need to show up in this world as you. That's your superpower. We need to pick up the phone and just say the thing. Hey, today I just wanted to talk to you about. And you may want to talk about something that is an absolute, I completely disagree with it. You know what? I want to still be your friend. I want you to tag me in the post, and I'll still give you a heart on it. I may not comment in that particular case because I intentionally don't want to create controversy on you posting something that I completely and totally disagree with. That doesn't make you wrong, and it doesn't make me wrong. It means that from our life experience and the things we've been through and the stuff that we know at this point in our lives, that's the information we have, and that's what we believe. And that's okay. Warning, I'm going to talk specifically to church people, people that are Christians in the church, okay? So if you're not, or you don't really believe that or whatever, you can hum a merry tune for a minute or whatever, okay? But Christians, it's about time we learn how to be in the world and love people versus being in the world and be judgy assholes. Excuse my language, but I don't know how else to say it. And I know I've been trying really hard not to curse on my live streams as much, but there's just no other way about it. Why would anybody want to know a God that makes you the biggest jerk they've ever ran into? Now, that doesn't mean you can't disagree adamantly with the person, but can we do it in love? Can we be willing to go to the places where those people are and be kind and loving and supportive to them? Okay, sermon to the church over. All of you come back, even if you were whistling your merry tune, okay? Because all of us need to learn what the word inclusion should mean versus the way that it's been morphed to mean. And I very rarely go political, so watch out when I feel that specific that I'm going to bring it there. This is probably something that we all need to, all 10 fingers pointed at me, we all need to understand. Inclusion should be about accepting everyone where they are and creating a path for them to be part of the solution and for them to grow on their course. Now, in some cases, the opinions are going to be so widely varied that either very seldom or not at all will there be times when you should have conversations, because we don't need to volunteer for conversations that are just controversy. And there's far too many people in the world that's what they're just really looking for. They know they have a controversial opinion and they want to go out just to create chaos. And I'm not saying that if that's your superpower, you're the Superman of chaos creating. I'm even going to practice my own words. If that's who you are and that's what you absolutely know you're called to do, then say it and still tag me in it and I'll give you a heart for it. I'm going to disagree with you adamantly. Okay, and if you ask my opinion in private, I will tell you, I don't think that's you being the best version of yourself. I don't think you can spread happiness, peace, joy, and love in your own life and in your own bubble of part of the world by spewing all of those other things. I think that what you focus on grows. This is totally 100% my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just sharing my opinion. See what I'm saying? But when we can get to the point where we can be that diametrically opposed to one another's opinions, but we can talk and be open to hearing what they have to say, as they too need to be open to hearing what we have to say. And if we walk away from the conversation and both of us are just as convinced in our opinions, because remember we talked yesterday, the quote from Roadhouse, opinions vary. Okay? And we can talk some other time. Again, I'm not really wanting to do a sermon here about, truth and how to find truth and all those kind of things. That would be a completely not part of our live stream discussion that I'd be glad to have with you in total love and, wanting to see the best for both of us. But what you focus on is going to grow. If you have a calling, now some of the callings that some of us have on our life, and even some of the things I've been saying today are controversial to say the least, and will get some people's hackles up. Don't ask me what a hackle is. I just remember that word from, my grandparents or whatever. And many of us are called to stand in the space of that and stand firmly for that, even when people come at us. And if that's you, more than likely, you've probably already been in that space and you just didn't know that it was okay to use your voice. Or you've been using your voice and feeling guilty about it. And I want to release you from all that judgment and all that guilt. Just go out and do it. When you stop saying silent, or when you stop judging yourself silently inside while you're not being silent, both of those, see, that's both sides of the same coin. You don't say it. There's a group of you that are in that place. And the others say it, but you're always feeling guilty or judging yourself or worrying what other people are thinking and those kind of things. When we let all of that BS go and just say the thing that we're meant to say, yeah, we can pepper in some love and some hope and some peace and a willingness to have truly open discussions. All of those are going to make all of us better people. But when you adamantly believe something and you believe or know it is truth, I'm not asking you to change your opinions, your worldview, any of those kind of things. I'm just saying, let's not write off somebody who is just as adamantly, diametrically opposed to your opinion. And additionally, probably don't hang out with that person because the two of you are probably never really going to see eye to eye. And if both of you feel called on a mission to share the thing that the others of you disagree, the other of the two of you disagrees with, you can have some really heated, fun, probably even discussions. But at the end of the day, as far as, iron sharpening iron and, everybody rowing the ship in the same direction, that's never going to happen. And you need to, there's that old saying, you're the most like the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? Okay. So if that's true, which it is, who are the 5 people you spend the most time with? And what are they like? Do they resemble all of the things we've been talking about open communication and truly having an inclusive environment that allows everybody's opinion to be valid, even the ones you disagree with? But at the end of the day, are those 5 people, are they diametrically opposed to the thing that you believe adamantly? Or are they all rowing the boat the same direction as you? Your 5. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a whole array of other people in addition to that, but your 5 should be in the same boat, going with you, pouring down that road. And it doesn't matter what that road looks like. You need to all be going in the same direction. It's really hard to get a boat to go anywhere when everybody's rowing a different direction. Those are the 5 people you want to have around you. And maybe you're the leader in that group, and maybe you're the voice that is going to speak the words that all 6 of you, in this case, because it's you and your 5, believe in. And, hey, that's great. Absolutely. And maybe all 6 of you have very strong voices. Every one of you should speak, should talk. But I also know that there are some people that are really kind, helpful, behind the scenes spirits. And I've met some really amazing, my friend Margaret, who used to actually be the personal assistant to Lisa Nichols, an amazing woman. Oh, incredible. And if ever you could handpick somebody to be right there, right alongside of you, but that, to my knowledge, never really wanted the spotlight and never really felt any jealousy or those kind of things over, wanted to be the person to see that the water was running low and get somebody. Did you hear what I said there? Didn't run out and do it herself. Got somebody to go and fill the water up for her. You don't have to want to be the person on stage to share your voice. Maybe your voice is meant to be that quiet, strong voice in the ear of somebody that's meant to be the speaking person. Maybe you're that really deep wisdom that you don't say much, but when you do, it's like, oh, yeah. We all have our different places to play, but each of us has a voice that needs to be said to the people who need us so, so much. It's really easy, and all of us have experienced the safety that has come from silence. Well, or I should really say, the feeling that we were safe. Now, here's the question, were we? Yes, I'm going to drink water here real quick. At one point, that safety may have been, that silence rather, may have been keeping you safe. But it won't be long until that becomes a trap. It becomes a prison that you put yourself in. And you need to speak. You need to say your words to the people that you need to say your words to and share them with the world. When we stop staying silent, people listen. It's amazing to see. But every time somebody speaks up, somebody else sits down and listens. There are people that are going to stand up and rail against it. That's just the way the world is. Let's stop focusing on the people and all their negative and all that stuff. And let's look through the crowd. And even if everybody else is raging against the machine, what about that one person over there in the corner that's intensely listening and they've got their book out and they're writing notes? Zoom all of your effort and energy into on that one person. If you were standing in front of a group of people, and it doesn't matter whether it's 10 or 20 people or it's 10 or 20,000 people, one of the most powerful things you can do is find somebody that's really connecting in when you're talking. And just zero in on them and have it almost feel as though you are just talking directly to them. And in some cases, maybe that's all you do. And though there are performance things that, are about scanning the crowd and making sure you talk to everybody and those kind of things, there are going to be those people. I hope for you that when you're on stage, that there's a person or two over here that you can kind of go back and forth between them because you can hear them intensely listening. They're kind of leaned in or they're taking notes and you can tell, and they'll look up every once in a while, but they're, and you're pretty sure, nobody really knows unless you went and looked over their shoulder, but you're pretty sure they're probably not playing an intense game of tic-tac-toe. You can kind of tell from the look on their face. They're really writing and listening, and they look up and they, and every once in a while, maybe they pick up their phone and they take a picture of the slide if you're using a slideshow. And you scan over to this way. And then over here, you've got this person and they're listening really closely too. And you got this person here towards the middle and they're kind of leaned forward in their seat a little bit. And the person leaned forward in their seat, maybe they may even be looking for, where's the fallacy of this argument? Because I'm starting to believe it. And this is not what I normally believe. I love it when we get people like that. I'm not asking you to change 100,000% of yourself. I'm just saying, hey, let's have a discussion. And you'll bring some things to my world and I'll bring some things to yours. Truth will come out from that. And before you know it, the words that you were afraid to say, the words that you were told to stop saying, the message that is crying out right now, I know it, I can feel it inside of you. It starts resonating and then it starts growing. And before you know it, you're making a movement. It was pretty cool. My social media girl was telling me today that we're starting to get a following of just a couple people, and it's small. That's okay. We're almost at our 90-day mark. And we knew that it might take us 90 days to even get to the point where we had anybody beyond my own ears hearing me. But we're beginning to get some of that. And you'll find over time as you do this, and that's why you do it. Minimum of 3 days, but really should be 5 to 7 days a week. You just go out live. And you don't have to go half an hour, 40 minutes like I do. In fact, you're probably better off, statistically speaking, going 2 or 3 minutes or 5. Do 9 minutes and let that break up into 3 3-minute videos. Or go 8 minutes and let that break up into 4 2-minute videos. And if you're one of those people that really follows tightly an outline, you can see I've got some notes over here, and sometimes I follow them and sometimes I don't at all. Think of, so if you were doing 8 minutes and they were 2 minutes each, think of what is the 4 things, what is the transition from the one to the next so that it all is concise together. What is the overarching theme for all of it? You see what I'm saying? There's some of those kind of things that we can work with you in Visibility Amplifier community to help you be able to craft that out. Because first you need the clarity. Well, even maybe before that, you need the safety. Safe space is created in the best way that word was intended to mean and how it should feel. It's there, absolutely, and ready for you to feel and live and be in a safe place. Okay? And then we can help you get clarity. Who are you? What are you meant to do? And who are you meant to serve? And of all the things you can and should do, what does that person you're meant to serve, what do they need? What's the one thing, if you say nothing else, that they need to hear you say? And how do we say that clearly? Let us craft all of that for you. If you're ready for that, drop the word clear in the comments, send me a DM, and then do come join us in Visibility Amplifier community. If that is something that resonates with you, then that's your home. visibilityamplifier.com will take you there. And we want to welcome you in. And thank you for being in our presence, as it were, because we love having you in ours. And we feel grateful to have you there. Share your voice today. Share your voice, maybe even first with those of us that are willing to walk the journey with you. But share it. Now's your time to be seen. And the only way to be seen is to be someplace you can be seen. And the only way to be visible is to be visible. And if you want to be a speaker, you need to speak. You want to get better at being a speaker, you need to speak a lot. That's how it works. Although practice does not make perfect, the more you do it, the more, like if you were practicing the guitar and you were doing it totally wrong, but you were working on your manual dexterity so that you could do things with your fingers that when you first started out, you couldn't. You can get a teacher that can break some of those bad habits, some of them. I have a buddy of mine that was an amazing guitar player, the lead guitar player in my band. And one of the things that he had learned to do because he got his guitar when he was like 12, and the neck of the guitar was really big for his little hands. And one of the things that he sometimes did was he would flip over the top, and you're not supposed to use your thumb to get that top string. But he sometimes did that, not always. And he had the skills that, he could do all those chords that way too. I mean, I've seen him play it upside down, so he's crazy, but those things can be worked on. But getting that dexterity, learning how to be able to completely hijack yourself and then come back online, that comes from practice. Do it. Do it raw, do it real, but do it now. Thanks for doing it. I appreciate you. This is the end of our week that we've been talking this whole entire week about your move from whisper to message, from silent to a roar. And I want to hear you roar. Yes, I just quoted Katy Perry. Because you're totally worth it. And you absolutely need to share you. And the world needs you. Somebody's waiting on you. I promise you they are. They're searching for you right now. And you need to speak up and speak. Step up and speak, whichever way you want to say that, so that they can find you. And thanks for doing it. I appreciate you. We'll be back with a whole new week next week. I am getting ahead here now so that I will next week I will likely know what I'm going to talk about on Sunday, but I'm not totally sure yet. I'm outlining that right now as we speak. But we'll be back when the day is new, and I'll have more ideas for you, and you'll have things you want to talk about. I will too. I love Mr. Rogers. And I love that spirit of us coming together every day when the day's new and just sharing, having our ideas and going back and forth with them and making the world a better place for one another. Thanks for being part of that. Thanks for joining us at visibilityamplifier.com. Thanks for dropping the word clarity if you need help getting clear or honing any of these kind of things. But mostly, thanks for being here, live or on the replay. Thanks for you. I appreciate you. If you really got something out of this, share with a friend. I'd love that. I appreciate that too. And I hope until we're together again next time, that you have an amazing and great week.